Welcome, everyone, to Community News Pillars of the Community, where we celebrate the extroverted individuals, like we have today, organizations, institutions, and businesses that support and benefit our community. I'm your host, Harry Gottlieb, and we're very proud to have you tune in today to find out more about the Miami-Dade County Citizen Independent Transportation Trust, Community News Mobility Matters, Community News Book Hub, and have the pleasure of meeting Javier Betancourt, who is the executive director of Miami-Dade County CITT, who is also the host of those two podcasts I mentioned previously, and is also a brand new author who is going to be launching his book at Books and Books on the 22nd of next month in Coral Gables. And we encourage all people that love books and that love history and that love books like
Dan Brown, Da Vinci Code. If you like Indiana Jones and Da Vinci Code meets The Matrix, you'll love this book.
You're going to love this book. I have a copy of it. I have a galley copy of it, and I've read up to 100 pages so far, and I'm looking forward to the rest of it. It's a real page turner. And again, it's going to be at Coral Gables Books and Books. And the moderator is going to be
Dr. Paul George.
Dr. Paul George, a very famous and important historian here in Miami. So Javier, welcome to the program. Please introduce yourself. Tell us where you came from. How did you get involved with the CITT?
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you, Harry, for having me on the program. We have literally turned the tables because I know you were on Mobility Matters not too long ago, so it's great to have another conversation with you. So my name, again, Javier Betancourt, born and raised here in Miami, technically Miami Lakes and Hialeah. I then went off to college in Washington, D.C. I studied foreign affairs at Georgetown. I was going to be a diplomat. That didn't work out because I got a job with Senator Bob Graham as his deputy press secretary when he was up on the Hill. Great guy. I know we both have connections to that amazing family. And something happened along the way that I started missing Miami. 7 years living away, I started to appreciate those things that I had once taken for granted. I missed the color, the vibrancy, the energy, the food, the Cuban coffee. I missed my family and my friends, so I returned. But I had also been frustrated with many elements of Miami when I first left. And I said, okay, if I'm going to go back, I'm going to go back and do something about those things I'm frustrated about, right? Because I'm the type of person that is solution-oriented, and I care about my community, and I want it to be better. So that's when I discovered this profession called urban planning. I had wanted to be an architect, but I can't draw a stick figure, much less buildings.
But it's all CAD now. It's all computers.
It's all CAD. At that time, you needed to have some artistic ability, which I don't. And engineering, that required too much math. So urban planning is great. It's more policy-oriented. You're dealing with the same things that architects and engineers often are, but from more of a policy standpoint, a conceptual standpoint, which fits my skill set and my personality. So I became an urban planner, and that's more or less what I've been doing in different ways throughout my career. I started with the Regional Planning Council. I've worked for the city of Coral Gables. I've worked for the Miami Downtown Development Authority. Back to the Coral Gables to run their economic development department. And then that ultimately led me to where I am today, which is the Citizens Independent Transportation Trust of Miami-Dade County.
So for those people that don't know that much about it, tell us how it's funded. Tell us who you benefit. I know that you collect a half-penny transportation tax. Where does that money come from exactly? And how do you distribute it? I believe 80% of it goes to Dade County and 20% goes to each municipality based on their population.
That's exactly right. So 24 years ago now, it'll be 25 years next year, the good citizens of Miami-Dade County went to the polls and they voted in favor of a half-penny sales tax increase.
They originally wanted
a full penny.
A full penny. That was Pinellas.
That wasn't going to fly.
Alex Pinellas wanted a full penny.
Yeah, and then politically that didn't fly, so they compromised.
Which is hundreds of millions of dollars.
So in today's dollars, we're collecting $400 million a year. But the voters did approve it. But they didn't quite trust that it would be managed well. And so to ensure that the monies would be spent on transportation and that there wouldn't be a bait and switch like famously happened with the Florida lottery, they insisted on the creation of an oversight board of citizens to make sure that the funds were spent appropriately. Hence the creation of the Citizens Independent Transportation Trust. Our job exclusively is to make sure that the monies are not misspent, that they are spent on the projects, programs, and services that were promised to the people.
You don't decide how to improve the transportation or how to expand the transportation, correct?
Yeah, so there are a lot of transportation agencies. They each have their role. So kind of thinking big picture, you have the Transportation Planning Organization, or TPO, good partners of ours. They do kind of the long-range planning. They decide, where the priority projects, where the funding is going to be attached to prioritize certain projects over others. Then you have the Department of Transportation and Public Works for Miami-Dade County, which is really the department that both operates, maintains, and builds out the system. So when you think of who runs transit, who's building the roads, that's that department. And then, of course, you have FDOT, which is in charge of its own highways and roadways, and a slew of other agencies. Our role is very specific, oversight over the funds. To your point, Harry, earlier, the county gets the bulk of that, about 80%. The cities all get 20% collectively, with the largest cities getting more than the smaller ones. And
the municipalities get to decide how to spend that money, correct? They're not mandated to choose a particular kind of transportation.
There are certain parameters that they have to work under. So they have to spend at least 20% of what they get on some kind of transit. That could be a bus stop, it could be a trolley, it could be a freebie on-demand service. And they can spend up to 80% on other transportation, so roadway projects, traffic calming, bike ped improvements. Many cities over time have found that the transit component is so popular that they're spending well above their 20% minimum on transit. Some cities like Coral Gables spend 100% of what they get purely on their trolley and their freebie service. But so that's the general requirement. To your point, they don't come to us for our approval on spending on X versus Y, so long as it meets the legal requirements and the eligibility. And we ensure that by auditing all the cities and the county on a regular basis.
So you don't oversee the elevators or the escalators or the windows in the elevators or anything like that. I can't call you or reach out to you when I have a complaint about the elevators in the Metro Rail not working.
You're always welcome to reach out, and you do, but there isn't much I can personally do to solve the problem. And when we know, those of us who ride the system, it can be frustrating. A lot of the things are down or in the process of being renovated, and it's painful to live through. What we do is ensure that our funds are used to try to improve the system to the extent it can be. There are some limitations. In general, the half-penny funds were meant to enhance or expand transit, not to help with operating and maintaining the existing system, because that would be seen kind of as a bait and switch, right? The voters wanted something new. They wanted expansion. They wanted capital, not necessarily for a new tax to basically pay for the old system. So there are limitations on what our funds can be used for in that regard, but there's also some flexibility. So, we regularly approve the use of our funds for things like improving Metro Rail stations, purchasing new vehicle fleets, Metro Rail, Metrobus, Metromover. All of those fleets have been paid for with the half-penny funds, for instance. And those new vehicles make a huge difference. They're much more reliable. They break down less frequently. So, we see that as an important investment.
So you're funding the buses, the Metro Rail, the trolleys, and the
mover as well.
And freebies. And freebie.
I call them freebies. On-demand transportation.
On-demand transportation.
Freebie is a vendor.
And some of them are electric, like freebie, of course.
Yes. Yeah.
And the buses that we recently purchased that are electric, they're having some challenges, I understand.
There's two sets of the electric buses. There was one big purchase that was made, and you're right, that company folded. And unfortunately, those buses are not operable, and we have no company to go after to fix them. And so that's a bit of a mess. Then there was another set of electric buses that were purchased for the Metro Express, South Dade Bus Rapid Transit. Those are working great. I think those are new flyers. It's a different company, well-established company, and all reports are that they're working well.
Was there any consideration for trams, which were, I guess, buses that had their own cables above that they get the power so that the buses don't have to have batteries and don't have to be charged every day? Was there any consideration for that?
Absolutely. Every time the county explores a project, they have to go through a very lengthy, comprehensive process to study what is the best technology for that corridor. It's called a PD&E study, planning, development, and engineering. And then there are environmental reviews on top of it. It's a very, very complex, lengthy, expensive process to go through. And they will look at what makes sense here. Metro rail, light rail, it's kind of the system you're talking about, streetcar, bus, rapid transit. They look at all those technologies. They look at the pros and cons in that particular context to determine which is the best solution. In the case of South Dade, they concluded it was bus rapid transit, mostly because there isn't enough density and intensity of uses along that corridor. It's fairly suburban. And, to justify the expense of something like what you're talking about, you need a lot more ridership.
So I want to reach out to the viewers to let them know that we have another guest that's going to be coming in a very short time, and his name is Adrian Betancourt, and he's related to you in some way?
I keep hearing about this guy, but, somehow or another, we've never met. I don't know.
So we'd like to invite Adrian to come out. So you all know about alter egos. There's Bruce Wayne and Batman. There's Clark Kent and Superman. There was the Beatles and Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Well, today we have the alter ego of Javier Betancourt, and his alter ego is Adrian Betancourt, and you both look so much alike. Very handsome guys, big smiles, but you do so many different things. So you've got the CITT and transportation for Javier, and then you've got and mobility matters, and then you've got the book hub, which you interview a lot of authors, and recently you wrote a book that is being printed. No, it's already printed. It's out.
Baby.
It's right
it's
here.
Out.
It's out here.
It's hot off the presses.
It's hot off the presses, and it's going to be presented at Books and Books on the 22nd at 7 p.m. That's going to be a real big deal. You do not want to miss this event, and this is a really interesting book. So we want to talk more about the book, but you can talk a little bit about some of the authors that you interviewed at Hub, and how do you compartmentalize the fact that you are this Renaissance man?
I don't know about a Renaissance man. I'm no Thomas Jefferson, Harry, although I admire people who are able to dabble in different things. And all it really takes to do that is curiosity. I've always been a very curious person. I get bored kind of doing the same thing repeatedly, and so I love exploring different things. And later on in life, I explored writing. It's not something I set out to do, but an idea came to me. I became obsessed with it, and I started writing, and this was probably several years ago. And finally I decided, this deserves to be published. And not only deserves to be published, but I see it as actually a very long saga. This is going to be the first of hopefully 9 books.
And possibly films.
I would love to adapt it to TV or film as I was writing it, and hopefully as people read it. You'll see that it does lend itself to that. It's an action adventure. It's a thriller. It's got great characters. It's got great settings.
You envision who the actors are going to be.
Absolutely. And starting with you, Harry, you're going to be one of my villains. How about that? No. But listen, speaking of the book and speaking of you, I do want to gift this to you.
Oh, my goodness.
I know you've already started reading the e-version, but you got a signed copy there for you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate this, everybody. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's a great... How did you come up with the concept with the yin and the yang? And
So I am what you call an amateur Taoist. So I think a lot of people are familiar with Buddhism and maybe even Zen Buddhism. If not with the religion, they're at least familiar with the term and things like meditation.
One with everything?
And the yin yang, one with everything.
That's why, that's the kind of bagel I order all the time.
And so I grew fascinated with Taoism. I started studying it. I read a lot of books on it. I started meditating. I started, practicing Qigong, which is like Tai Chi's easier brother. Tai Chi is not easy to do. And one day I was meditating in my backyard, or at least trying to, and I couldn't get to a meditative state. I had too many things running around in my head, what they call monkey brain. And, I thought in that moment, gosh, I wish there was some device like a Fitbit or, all these wearables that are popular now. I wish there was something that would help you meditate, that would help you if you believe in Qi, which is one of the life energy, one of the key principles behind Taoism, something to help manage and balance your Qi. And I started actually pursuing that as a business. I thought, well, this would be a great business idea. I gave up on that. Right, it takes a lot to start a business, and especially one as weird as a wearable device that controls Qi. But I had done all this research and I wanted to do something with it. And so I turned it into the book. And the premise of the book, generally speaking, is you have an AI company that has invented this device to manage, control, manipulate Qi. And it is corrupted.
It's an electronic device?
It's an electronic device. You put it on what you call your third eye, right?
You put it on your forehead?
You put it on your forehead.
It adheres to your forehead?
It adheres to your forehead, and then it helps you kind of basically get into a meditative state or whatever it is you want to do with that. But I had also thought that in the wrong hands, this could be abused. And that is essentially what the book is about. This company is corrupted by a bad person. We'll leave it at that. And
an evil villain. With a lair. He has a lair.
A couple of evil. No layers. It's not Batman. It's worse than a lair. It's a CEO corporate headquarters.
Oh my goodness.
So, the book essentially pits that against an ancient secret order called the Ancient Order of Seshat that has been charged over millennia to protect ancient knowledge and metaphysical secrets hidden in ancient texts. So those two collide.
There's a device that's found, some kind of a archaeological dig or something?
Yeah, without giving away too much, it's the cover of the book is actually inspired by a medallion that is actually a cipher or a key to unlocking many of the secrets. So there you go. There's the cipher. And in fact, since we're talking about the cipher, I got a little something for you here too.
Oh my goodness.
And this is, I think people at this point know what a challenge coin is. They've become very popular. So I thought it would be cool to create challenge coins around the symbol so that as people enjoy the book and they want to be part of the fandom community, I have things to reward them with.
So like you, this coin is a coin with two sides,
Yes.
which pretty much describes you.
Like almost literally at this moment, right?
This is beautiful, by the way.
And we all have two sides. We all have maybe even multiple sides. But at the end of the day, those two sides represent two parts of the same whole. So
thank you very much.
Two is one. You're welcome. Thank you for having me on.
So tell us a little bit more about the book. And the main character is named Maya. She's a young Asian woman. And it takes place in Miami and Miami Beach. And so you mentioned a lot of places in Miami and Miami Beach that people are familiar with. And they'll be very proud that this book celebrates our community.
That was precisely the goal. First of all, they say, write what you know. Well, I know my community, so I'm going to write about it. And then I wanted to take people on a little adventure across the city, but also exploring some of its kind of underlying issues. So it's a fun book, it's an action adventure, but it touches on some serious subjects in a fun and light way through the storytelling. So we actually start off in Coral Gables. Maya Lin, the protagonist, is a half Chinese, quarter Cuban, quarter Mesoamerican young lady. She is an architectural historian working at the University of Miami under her mentor, Dr. George Paul. And which may sound a bit like Dr. Paul George.
But it's not. It's a different person.
It's a completely different person.
But is she a citizen? Does she have legal rights to be in the United States?
She was born and raised in Miami.
Because she's not under any threat to being deported.
No.
She's good. Okay. Just want to clear that up.
She's all right. And it was important for me to include a lot of diversity and multicultural characters in the book as a response to what we're seeing in the world today. So she is, again, multicultural. We have an Egyptian-Ethiopian character, Cairo Muharib, who is an Egyptian cultural pirate. She's all about rescuing artifacts from the clutches of people who have stolen them. So she's basically my Han Solo character. We have Zen Wei. Zen is basically my Obi-Wan Kenobi. He is the all-wise kung fu master who trains Maya Lin. And then we have Teddy Adams. Teddy is half British, half American, aristocratic tech genius. And he kind of represents, Western culture and technology. And the four of those kind of formed this tight-knit crew that set off on this adventure to push back on the forces of the evil Genius Corporation.
Can you tell us about CITT? Seshat, is that
Seshat.
Seshat.
Yes.
A lot of people are familiar with the Greek gods because of the film Troy,
Sure.
because of the Odyssey, but they're not that familiar with Egyptian gods. Tell us about this god.
Yeah, so I find Egypt fascinating, and it's going to play an increasingly important role in the saga as time goes on.
She's the god of writing, journalism.
Seshat is the ancient Egyptian goddess of knowledge, wisdom, and writing.
And measurements.
So you always see her kind of like, jotting something down.
Okay. Note taker.
On the original Kindle,
She's a note taker like Bob
Papyrus.
Graham.
Exactly. Maybe that's where I got the inspiration, right?
That could have been it.
Thank you, Bob. But she's even, people who know many of the Egyptian gods, like Ra, some of the others that may come to mind, she's still relatively unknown. So I thought it would be fun to actually center my series on a goddess that played an important role and yet is very unknown. So.
And tell us about you mentioned the device before, but you didn't mention the name, and it's pronounced Arqitect?
So the name of the book, Maya Lin and the Ancient Order of Seshat is kind of the name of the series, and then each volume will have its own name. This one's called The Arqitect, but Arqitect is spelled with a QI instead of a CH.
So it's
it's a play on the Qi, which underlines
ARQITECT.
That's it.
But it's pronounced Arqitect.
It's pronounced however the reader wants to pronounce it. I'm pronouncing it the Arqitect.
And the device that you put on your third eye on your forehead, what is that called?
It's called the Qini. So there's a lot of play on words here around Qi, because this is the Qi series, which is part of the larger Three Treasures saga. The Three Treasures in Taoism being Ying, Qi, and Shen.
Okay.
So I started in the middle with Qi, much like Star Wars started in the middle with its trilogy. Then my second series will be set in ancient civilizations, so ancient Egypt, ancient Greece, ancient Mayans, ancient Celtic, and ancient China. And then the last three series will be set in the distant future, and we'll really touch on some much more metaphysical topics,
so
different dimensions, spiritual planes, weird stuff.
So I've read that some authors, or most authors, already know what the ending is going to be at the beginning. So you have already determined, like J.J. Rowland's, and that you know what the ending is going to be?
I have. I actually have been writing.
It's in a vault somewhere?
It's a vault right in here. I have written out the last scene of the 9th book. And it's really cool, and you'll have to wait probably 10 years to read it. But it's important when you're writing a series. It all has to be internally consistent. And you could really mess up by doing something wrong in the first book, because the rest of the books have to build on that, right? So I had to give thought to the entire series, at least conceptually, not maybe in a lot of detail, so that I can write this one effectively. So yes, I have thought through each of the three series, and most importantly, how the whole thing ends.
So like I said, I've read maybe 100 pages, 110 pages. I'm looking forward to reading the rest of it, of course. Now that I have the book, I'm definitely going to read it, and I'm going to share it. And I'm going to come to the book signing event, and I'm going to tell all my friends to come to the book signing event.
Thank you.
But in the course of reading, I discovered a couple of passages, a couple of lines that I really liked. But the one I like the best by far is, "Don't let the past be your prison." Please explain this to me, and how you incorporate it into the book, and how this is one of the themes of the book.
Yeah, and I'm not even sure how I came up with it. It just came to me. Don't let the past be your prison. Onward and upward.
Pa'lante,
and
as
onward,
the Hispanics would say. Pa'lante.
And, I'm a big believer in just moving forward and not getting stuck in the past. A lot of, our emotional issues are caused by things that have happened in the past that we just won't let go of. And that keeps you from succeeding and thriving in life. Just let it go. It happened. It may have been awful. I get it. It does you no good to continue harping on it. Just don't let the past be your prison. Too many people build prison walls around them. Those prison walls are made up of memories and tragic events that occurred in their lives. And the best thing they can do is to open up those prison gates, leave it all behind you, and look forward.
But it's not a self-help book. It's just
not.
that's the icing on the cake.
Yeah.
So you've got all this interesting stuff going on. You've got all these interesting characters and these adventures going on, and archaeological information. And you've got the IT device that goes onto your forehead, and it enhances your ability to meditate and to become a better human being. And then the icing on the cake is that it's a self-help book. You're going to end up being a better person. So there's so many reasons to get this book and to come to the event at Books and Books on the 22nd at 7 p.m. We want you all to be there. So in conclusion, we're about ready to wrap this up. We want to thank the Miller Brothers for having us here. Is there something you want to wrap this up with?
I do. So part of what I'm building, I want you to read the book. I want you to enjoy it, but I'm also building a whole world around it. I believe in an immersive experiential experience. So, I want you to be part of the family.
Yes.
Right? And part of that is when you become part of that community, you're going to get rewarded. You may get challenge coins. You may get nice fancy pens, which you're getting now.
So there's going to be merchandising.
And it starts with certificates,
oh,
right?
my
So
goodness.
You are now formally inducted into the MedJay Knights. So that is going to be the reader ambassador program of the book. And then if you play your cards right, one day you might actually be inducted into the actual Ancient Order of Seshat. But this is the starting point.
I am honored. I don't know what to say.
And anyone who does this, who becomes part of the community will get these things.
Thank you so much. This has just been a delight having you here and going through this, and I'm looking forward to the book, and I encourage everybody to come out to the book signing event.
Yes.
And last but not least, we want to encourage all of our viewers to participate in their community, to attend commission meetings, whether it's the municipality or the county. We want you to learn about the zoning. We want you to learn about transportation, especially transportation, and what else? The zoning, transportation, traffic, all this good stuff. And we want you to have a voice in your community. We want you to know who the commissioners are, who the administrator is, who the mayors are. And last but not least, remember that it's we don't want. How do we say it? Don't ask what your community can do for you.
Ask what you can do for your community.
Ask what you can do for your community. Get out there, and it's not just a matter of voting. It's a matter of getting involved, everybody. Thank you very, very much. We'll see you next time.
Thank you. Onward and upward.
Thank you. There you go.